Need a getaway that's just for you? At Cotton Cuts Retreats, all you have to do is show up with your sewing machine, and we'll handle the rest. Spend your days sewing with new friends, learning from expert educators, and enjoying inspiring workshops, activities, and local excursions. From cozy accommodations and pre-cut kits to perfectly planned shop hops, every detail is taken care of so you can relax, create, and explore a new city. Choose from our week-long retreat or a shorter escape to fit your schedule. Your quilting vacation is waiting. Check out all our upcoming retreats at cottoncutsretreats.com.
The big reveal's coming.
The big reveal's coming.
The big reveal's coming.
Big reveal is coming.
There's a big reveal coming? Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday morning. It is 9:30 a.m. Cotton Cuts time, which means it is time for us to talk about something fun and exciting and awesome. I mean, to be clear, we do that every week, but I feel like this week is extra special because we get to talk about the most fun, the best things that we do here at Cotton Cuts, and that is our retreats. And I cannot wait to share with you more details about all of our upcoming retreats for at least the first 2/3 of 2026. So good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for checking in. Oh my goodness. I see people checking in from Rhode Island and from California. And I see Kim is in her RV in the Lake of the Ozarks near us. You guys, it is officially fall in St. Louis. This is real fall. This is not fake fall. This is the real fall. It is cold. There was a cold front wind that came through earlier this week, the kind that, will take you off the ground if you're not walking too slow, I guess. And it's cold. So everyone's bundled up here. It's, as they said this morning, sweater weather, which I believe originated from an SNL skit I've heard. I'm sure someone out there will correct me if that is incorrect. All right. So good morning, everybody. Let's jump right into it. We're going to do what we always do. We'll take questions that have been submitted by you guys that are left here for me, from Paula. Then we're going to talk about what's happening in the shop, what's shipped, what is about to be shipped. You guys, there is a lot of stuff that is going to be leaving here and shipped between last week, this week, and next week. I think our bulk, like every day we're filling up our USPS truck. It is a lot of stuff shipping. And so I'm so happy because that is gifts that are going to you guys to help delight and inspire you. And it is fun and exciting for all of us. All right. And then we're going to talk about the main event, which is all of our upcoming retreats, which I've got my Sonoma retreat shirt on today because that was an enjoyable, memorable time. And I cannot wait to do that again with you guys. Okay. So let me see here. Doop. I need to see where these questions are. They got buried. Okay. So today, the first question comes to us from Sarah Mitchell from Portland, Oregon. Thanks so much for your question, Sarah. Sarah asks, hi, Kim and Cotton Cuts team. I absolutely love my Puzzle Mystery Quilts, but I've been wanting to branch out and try some improvisational quilting. Good for you. Good for you. I like learning new things. I like challenging boundaries. The problem is I'm so used to following precise instructions that the idea of winging it, she puts that in quotes, winging it, terrifies me. How do I get started with improv quilting when I'm such a rule follower? Do you have any tips for letting go of perfection and just playing with the fabric? Thanks so much. Okay. So Sarah, I love this question. I am a rule follower. I am an engineer. It is wired into every fiber of my being that there's rules and we follow them and there's order and it's logic and it makes sense and the world is a happy place. However, improv quilting is such an eye-opening experience. It is living in a whole new world if you're rule following like I am. And so there's a couple tips and tricks that are coming to mind as I think about how to kind of reach into this ground. Now, I definitely have, and it wasn't willingly. I was participating in a block swap, as part of my guild. And the person I was swapping with liked improvisational quilting. And so I was forced to break out of my comfort mold and learn it and love it and learn to appreciate it as a form of quilting and as a form of art. And so I'd say probably the first place I would start would be to start on a small project, right? If this is your first time kind of breaking out of the mold of a pattern with precise cut instructions and piecing and pressing instructions, please start small. I did a small little like mug rug that was this big. I know if you want to do a block like 8 by 8, 12 by 12, start on something small, just so you can get comfortable with the idea of picking up a piece of fabric and randomly stitching it to the next one and folding it and then putting on another one and folding it. And so start with a small project. And on that vein, start with your scraps. And so I know a lot of people say improv quilting with scraps is the way to go, but I think it's deeper than that. And it's because your scraps are already what I will lovingly call trash, right? Scraps have already served their primary purpose. They've already served their highest value purpose for your quilting projects. And so by using your scraps, they're already okay if you make a mistake because they've already served their primary purpose. And so if you use your scraps, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to experiment. And it's okay to try new things because it's almost your leftovers. And so you're giving them a second better life in this project. And so I feel like there's a little bit that you loosen a little bit of things with that. Now, if you are a tried and true rule follower and the idea of this frenzied improv, I'm just going to stitch something to something and something to something and hope it comes out great at the end, is giving you hives. And it's something that you need something to get past that to make that first step. I suggest perhaps putting some what we'll call loose constraints on the project. And so in that case, if you're going to do improv, say it all has to be a specific color. So I'm going to use all blue fabric, right? And then you're adding a loose kind of parameter to it. So it still feels like you're living in the land of a pattern without really living in the land of a pattern. Or say, okay, so I'm going to use only triangles, right? But I'm going to make my triangles all over the map, but they're all going to be triangles. Or perhaps, and I see Jana has it, so a log cabin, right? I know my pattern is going to be a wonky improvisational log cabin, but I'm going to make those logs all different widths and lengths, and they're going to, some of them might be more trapezoidal, and some of them might be more diamond, whatever suits your boat. But give yourself kind of a loose parameter that you can play within that'll feel like you're sticking to a pattern while still doing improv. And then let me see, there was one more thought I had. Oh yeah. So I love that you're trying something new. And so I tell my soccer team this all the time. The first time you do something new, it's going to be hard, right? We need to accept that. The first time we do something new, it is going to be hard. And so understand that the first time you do improv, it's going to be hard. But it gets better and easier every time you do it. And so the more you practice, the better you will be. Nobody picks up something new unless, I mean, you never know. That Tiger Woods was probably really good the first time he played golf. But not everyone can be Tiger Woods. The first time you do something, you are not going to be an expert at it. And that is okay as long as you're learning, growing, and pushing yourself and you're comfortable with that. All right. Let me see here. Okay. So I see a question. How do we enter the weekly giveaway? I apologize, Steve Pam. I actually jumped right into that. So hang with me till the end of the show. We give a $25 Cotton Cuts gift card for answering a question at the end of the show, wherever you're finding this video on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. And so just stay to the end with us. We've got a great question for you guys. Answer it and you'll be entered to win that gift certificate. All right. Oh my gosh. We went down this like rabbit hole there. All right. So thanks so much for the questions there. I appreciate it. That was a good topic of conversation that I hope you guys all found valuable. All right. Our second question comes from Margaret Chen from Austin, Texas. Good morning, Margaret. Thanks so much for your question. Good morning. I have a question about organizing my quilting space. I'm fortunate enough to have a dedicated sewing room, but it's become so cluttered that I actually avoid going in there because it's overwhelming. I have fabric everywhere, UFOs, unfinished objects, piled up, patterns scattered around, and I can barely find my cutting mat under all the chaos. How do you organize your sewing space? And more importantly, how do you keep it organized? I feel like every time I start a new project, everything becomes a disaster again. Help. Okay. So Margaret, it's a fascinating question because I feel like you just looked in my sewing room. So I am going to need to crowdsource some answers to this. For those of you guys that have super organized quilt rooms, how do you keep it that way? Like we have, it's an extra bedroom in our house, and it is the door that is always closed because it every time I clean it, it looks like something then explodes in it a week later. And it got to the point where I couldn't even find my scissors last week to cut some fabric that I needed for backing on a quilt. So, there's I think what happens is we see social media and we get these beautiful spaces that are so well lit and everything is organized and everything is, in these cute little labeled tubs and bins. And we think that is the definition of perfection. And we are comparing ourselves to that level of perfection and think that that's the only way the world can operate. And so I want to challenge some of those assumptions a little bit. As long as the space is functional and working for you and you know where everything is, then that is okay. If that is your acceptance criteria, right? I know we aspire to have these highly organized and structured lives, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have that as long as it's your space and it is your personal space and you feel creative in there. Now, Let's see here. Lindsay says she feels this question. She has her very own sewing space in her new house. Yes, it is going to rapidly become a clutter. So back to Margaret's question. So I feel this when I open the sewing room door. I feel like I can't even get started because, we remodeled some bedrooms and things got jammed in there. And, we've got things it became a catch-all for everything in the house more than just my dedicated sewing space. And so I think one of the first tips I have on this is, it cannot be 15 minutes at a time. That would be death by 1,000 cuts. Whenever you start this project, it has to be something that you're dedicated towards getting things organized in a fashion that makes sense to you and putting things away such that you know where they are. And so, it's one of these, if you're a project-based person, put it in projects. If you're a supplies-based person, group your supplies by supplies, group your fabric by color or by designer, right? It's one of those, how do you see your sewing space and how do you feel like is going to be the easiest for you to find what you need when you need it? And so I know it's really easy to go online and search up how to organize your sewing room. But if that doesn't work for you, it is going to become a mess again real quickly. And so one of the things that I have found is that if I come up with a system that feels like me, and to be clear, like me by default is pretty messy, but I know where everything is at any point in time. And so in that case, it wouldn't make sense for me to have pretty bins that have labels on them and are titled, because I will forget where I put that bin as soon as I put the label on it. And for me, it's easier to have things where I want them when I need them. So my cutting mat, my sewing machine, all my scissors, my seam ripper, everything is set up where I would need it where I want it, where it is where I would want it to be when I need it, is the way I'm trying to say that. So let me read through some of the things that you guys have here. Lauren says, keep projects together in containers. After you finish the cutting step, fold and iron the remaining fabric and put it away. Mine are in drawers by color. Mine isn't always clean. I take a day to organize it periodically. I like that idea, Lauren. That's a fantastic suggestion. Ellen says, whenever I finish a project, I put everything in its place before I start a new project. So Ellen, my question for you is, if you have, say, 5 or 6 projects ongoing at the same time, I'm asking for a friend. If you have 5 or 6 projects going on at the same time, how does that work? Or are you one of those people that I would love to be, which is do one project, finish it, and then move on to the next project? I would love to know this. I just asking for a friend. If you've got 5 or 6 going on at the same time, how do you do that? Let's see here. Melody saying, good morning from a frosty Idaho. Yes, Melody, it has to be cold where you are for sure. Jana says, in my case, it would help to stay organized if I stop buying several new projects before I finish the current one. Yes, see previous conversation. Let's see here. My mom would take a day a month to do a good cleaning in her room. Lori Hawkins. I like that. I like if that works for you and you take a day a month, but it has to be, I think, dedicated time. This is not something you can do a little at a time and actually feel much progress. But think about that feeling. And when you dedicate that day or that weekend, in my case, and everything is done, clean, and put away, like all you want to do is live in that space. So as long as that is your reward, is that feeling of walking into the space and knowing everything is exactly where you want it to be, and you cannot wait to sew in that space, then that is definitely worth it for the end of the day. And so keeping that end in mind, that feeling you will have when everything is settled, is enough motivation usually for me to keep going. Now, something I've heard is that you can invite a friend over to help you. I wouldn't want a friend to do that. That feels pretty, I wouldn't want to subject them to that type of project. But sometimes inviting a friend over who has a space that you aspire to do. If you've been over to someone's sewing space and you love it, then perhaps they're the person that should come in and help you get organized and back together. All right, so keep the comments coming. I think, Margaret, this is a very, very, very relatable question and problem for many of us. And I think I would love to hear some suggestions that you guys have. Okay. Fantastic. So let's talk about what is going. Oh, thank you guys so much for your questions. Sorry. I am so excited to talk about these retreats, guys. I cannot wait to get to it. So thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. If you have a question for us next week, go to cottoncuts.com/live to submit your questions. Paula goes through all of them, puts them right in front of me. Who knows where we're going to be going? But I want to say, Margaret, I know it's probably really hard to submit that question. It's pretty hard to be vulnerable like that and, say that you have a messy space, but I'm looking at all of these people and you are not alone for sure. All right. Paula is running. I don't think she's running for me. Okay. Sorry. Anytime Paula gets up and runs through the shop during a live, I think I've forgotten something. So apologize for that. Let's see here. Pat Vizino is saying she has clear totes and she keeps a binder or a planner of things she's working on. I went with the pizza box idea. Oh, Carol's talking about how to store her Puzzle Mystery Quilt. The pizza box is a fantastic idea. Plus, it's fun and it's a different shape than on your shelf. Catherine says she likes organizing. It's her favorite part. I think that some people are fueled by that. If that's you, run with that for sure. All right, so we're coming back to Ellen, who I asked what happens if you have multiple projects. And so Ellen says she has 2 Cotton Cuts PMQ going. So I have a box with the fabrics in one box and finished blocks in another. But if it's a regular standalone project, I finish one before I start another. Ellen, I love that for you. That is fantastic. All right. So let's talk about what's going on in the shop this week. So we are in full-on Rosa's Holiday Your Way mode. And so I know... Oh, okay. Sorry. I've been scolded about props that have been provided to me, gang. So, all right. Rosa's Holiday Your Way. So I did a whole show and then we rebroadcast it last week talking about the different options for the Holiday Your Way program at Cotton Cuts. And we have a notions and we have a fabric and we have the Scrappy Happy Rainbow. And so you guys, our team is in full on mode of getting those boxes ready to go so they can ship to you by November 1st. So we have folded over, I think it's 3,000 fat quarters on last count and put them into little individual bags for you guys to bring you joy each day as you unfold fat quarters. They look like this. They're stinking cute. Each one has a number and a day. And so this, please, Paula, can you please make sure this goes back where you put it from? Because we want to make sure that there's not a box that's missing one of these lovely fat quarters. All right, she says yes. And then for the notions, Paula's been doing a fantastic job at showing you guys the packaging and the whimsical quote, the clue we put on it. And so here's one, and it says, "Good order is the foundation of great things." Doop-a-doop, I'm wondering what could be in here. And then this one says, "A block a day keeps the quilter at play." Boop-a-doop-a-boop. There's something fun in here too. So you guys, I'm going to be doing videos with the notions where I'm going to open up each one and talk about why it was picked, why it's cool, kind of what we were thinking when we put it in the box. And as we've been doing this, you guys, these are bigger than we've ever gone before. These are incredible ideas. Each one that we package gets a big ooh and a big ah. Oh, you want me to actually show one of the fat quarters?
Just one.
This Paula gal. Okay, so let me finish on the notions first. So I'm going to do a video every day kind of showing what's inside each one. We have gone so much bigger this year than we've ever gone before on the Holiday Your Way. There were so many things. I couldn't trim anything. I didn't want the team to have to make any cut decisions. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of different boxes out there with a lot of different options. This one is fun because it's just one of those little things that you might see and like and not buy for yourself. Or it's something that you didn't know you needed until you saw it. And so I love that notions box. Definitely go check it out. She wanted me to show you what was inside one of those. And so this is probably going to end up in someone's box. I have no idea. We have a lot of different prints in there and every box is different. And inside each one comes this handy dandy little quote. So it might be backwards on your screen. I apologize about that, but it says, "You are the greatest project you will ever work on." And on the back, it says, "Take this card with you and share with a stranger to brighten their day." So you'll get 24 or 31 of those. They're all different quotes. And you'll get a lovely fat quarter. This one is probably intended to go to someone. So I'm going to make sure it gets back on the production line so that way our counts don't get off. And Paula's reminding me there's less than 10 left of all of those boxes. So make sure you get in on it. Now, Gianna started out. She noticed that our Scrappy Happy Rainbow row by row, that is a mouthful. I feel like, can we abbreviate that? Oh, there's no vowels. Sorry. So Scrappy Happy Rainbow row by row is back in stock. So that sold out within the first, I think, 24, 48 hours. That one just like flew off the shelves. And the idea is it's a whole bunch of pre-cut parts and pieces and shapes. And you're going to, each time you open one of our little containers, you'll be able to make a row. And then we're going to give you the pattern. If you choose to follow the pattern, that's great. If not, do your own thing. I am not sad. I just want you to make something beautiful and be inspired by it. But you'll open up the little package, make the row on the second day or the second week or the second month, however you choose to interpret the number 12. You can open it up, make another row, open it up, make another row. Each month, each package will have a different pattern with it. And when you put it all together, you'll have a Scrappy Happy Rainbow quilt. Now, I am going to give you a hint that if you're participating in following the Cotton Cuts pattern, which again, you don't have to, but if you are, you can do a row or you can do individual blocks and then you can shuffle them all up and then you get Scrappy Happy Rainbow block by block. Is that a thing? Block by block. Okay. So those are back in stock. I think there's only like maybe 10 left of those. 10, 13. Paula says there are 13 left of those. So make sure you get in on those because they're super stinking cute. I showed Lincoln the final design, and he's my creative kid. He's my pattern kid, and he loves it and said it was fantastic and looked like a lot of fun. And he was actually jealous. I think he wants to sew it. Maybe we'll have to save one for him. Okay. All right, what else is going on? So Flyaway Clue 10, Flyway Clue 10, and the big reveal is coming up. So our team has already made all the border kits. We're getting ready to start the backing, and we're getting ready to start kitting up Clue 10, which is already all cut because we are ahead of things here. I am so excited to hear this. And so the big reveal for Flyway Clue 10 is coming up on November 7th at 1 o'clock Central. Put it on your calendars now on November 7th, 1 o'clock. We will have, I think we're going to have maybe 3 or 4 quilts here in the shop, but we have all of a host of ambassadors coming in, showing off their finished quilts, and we'll be bringing in Sheila, and we'll have a quick a cuppa, as she says. We'll have a quick conversation with Sheila. It's going to be lots of fun. I am going to see if we can perhaps up the number of prizes we give. I kind of like the idea of giving prizes during these reveals. I mean, you guys are attending. You might as well be entered to win something super fun. And we are also going to be revealing your guys' guesses and see who is closest to guessing the final finished colorway. So if you are caught up and if you've sewn completely through Clue 9, I'm going to suggest you guys just clear off a dining table, clear off a floor, do your whole design wall thing, and play with it and see who gets the closest to the design. I'm going to tell you, you might not get it because there's some pieces with tricky elements to it this time, but I challenge and would love to see what you guys are able to come up with. All right, let's see here. So we've got some samples in the shop people have been bringing in. It's lovely. It is fantastic. And so don't forget about all the things Flyaway. We also have what's shipping next week. So our snippets are shipping. We are about to open up that snippet waitlist again. So if you have seen the snippets, heard about the snippets, joined the snippets, and for some reason left and want to come back, we're going to be opening up that waitlist most likely in another week or 2. So be on the lookout for that. We want to make sure that we continue to keep the waste from our die cutting out of the recycling stream, out of the waste stream, and put them back into an area where you guys can come up with awesome. And perhaps if you resonated with the improv question that I said at the beginning, getting a snippet bag would be a fantastic way to try that, to dip your toe in. And perhaps the strength could be use what's in the bag and see what you creatively come up with. Catherine says she loves the reveals. The quilts are also beautiful. And Catherine, I think, so one of the things I love about seeing the Puzzle Mystery Quilt reveal is sometimes you do block of the months with quilt shops and they all end up looking the same, right? And what I think about the Cotton Cuts designs and our program is that you can have the same exact design. Everyone followed the same exact pattern, but the fabric choices that are in there have different elements pop. And so we've already seen that in our shop samples that have been made here, where in some you can see this element a little more, and in some you can see this element a little more. And I like that even though we're all doing the same thing, everyone's quilt looks so different at the end of the day because of the choices that you guys have made and the fabrics that you have been working with. All right. Yeah. Lonnie, I love the flyaway reel. Can't wait for that to come. All right. We also have Clue 4 of Under the Sea. So we are about to start getting Under the Sea past its midway hump, you guys. Like, it has gone so fast. I feel like Clue 4, month 4 for Under the Sea. I feel like we just started the Under the Sea. But yes, that is coming. Please keep up with your clues on that. But hey, if you've gotten behind, if life has been busy the past couple months, that is absolutely okay. This is the 10-month program, gang. You do not have to keep up. If you do keep up with it monthly, then fantastic. I love that for you. I like to binge show mine. I usually do 3 or 4 months at a time just to get them all caught up. And so if that's you, then that's fantastic as well. All right. I think is that everything? Oh, holy cow. Yes, that feels like not a lot, but it is also a lot at the same time. So I am very excited. These programs, you guys, our team, we also have island hopping, which is starting soon as well. So if you haven't gotten your kit already, I think we only have maybe 8 or 9 kits left for island hopping. That's going to start in a week and a half. We mailed out a whole bunch of backing kits as well as those new pillow kits. We would love to see how you guys put those together. We'll have some tutorials and videos on how to put them all together. And it is not too late to join us for island hopping. And again, in the skills that people tend to avoid because they might seem too hard, we have half rectangle triangles in that. And I promise you, after we show you how to sew them from die cut triangles and we give you a tutorial on how to sew them together, you're going to make so many half rectangle triangles. That barrier is going to come completely down for you, and you are going to be in a whole new creative space. Let's see here. Oh, on Instagram, Deb F is saying, I made a mistake on color placement on the last clue. Bring out Jack. Yes. I think you're not the only one. Many people have to use Jack when you get going. You're just like chain piecing, boop, 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 and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I should have probably slowed down a little bit. And I feel like that happens to me too. All right. So let's talk about retreats. So I am excited because I know in the chat, we have lots of folks that attended the Cotton Cuts retreats this past year. And so I want to talk about in general, why do people go on quilting retreats? And so if you've never been before, I want to make sure that it's not, again, one of these things you've never done and don't want to get past that hurdle to go. So people go on quilt retreats because quilting can oftentimes be an isolating activity. Not everyone lives in communities where you can go into the grocery store and talk to someone about your log cabin quilt block, or go to a neighborhood party and talk to someone about a scrappy star quilt that you made, right? Quilting is typically a solitary activity. You're typically doing it by yourself in your room, even though by nature, quilting originated as a group activity. And so retreats were created for us to have dedicated time to focus on the craft we love while being surrounded by other people that love this craft as much as we do, right? And so we can find that online. We can find that on YouTube. We can find that in forums like this. However, having that face-to-face connection where you share a common language. I know that on our past 2 retreats we've had, the hotel staff have been coming in and they feel like we're speaking a separate language, like we're speaking Klingon, because we're using words, we're using phrases that aren't used every day. And I feel like that's something that connects us as quilters, is we have our own language, we have our own shortcuts. We can talk about how to debug our sewing machine, and it's very foreign to people looking in the outside. But when you're at a retreat, you can let that flag fly. Like you can totally get all, technical quilting because you're surrounded by people that feel the same way and know what you're talking about. And if you don't know the language, a retreat is a great way to learn it and be immersed by it, right? We always talk about learning languages via immersion. If you want to learn quilting, retreats are the fantastic, most immersive experience you can get, because they're a great way to get out of your daily routine and open your aperture more than just what you would normally be exposed to. All right. Janice saying she's been saving up for 2026 retreat and hopes it works out for her. I hope it does too. I would love to meet you guys in person. That's the best part. All right. So one of the things that we prioritize as well in retreats, and one of the things that I think you guys love most, is that community connection, right? We like facilitating face-to-face interaction. I know that in a post-COVID world, we've gotten used to a lot of online content delivery, and we're scrolling in our feeds, and that's how we're getting a lot of our inspiration. But I want to get us back to where we're meeting face-to-face with people, where we're able to have those spontaneous connections, where we're sitting next to someone who we've never met before, but then we become lifelong friends with just because we share a love and a passion for this craft. And so I'm always hearing from you guys, I wish I could meet other Cotton Cuts enthusiasts in person. I would love to put faces to the names I see in the group. And wouldn't it be amazing to sew together? And so that's really the fire behind us creating this retreat experience. And of course there's quilting, right? We do lots and lots of quilting at this retreat. But what else happens at a Cotton Cuts retreat that you might not get at other retreats, right? There's a lot of options in the retreat space. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of really good facilitated work and helping quilters come together and have the shared experience. And they're doing a really, really good job. But we do things a little differently. So we like to bring in instructors that are going to teach us something new. Now, I want to make sure that I've been in classes where I've been taught something new and haven't left with much, or it's been in one ear and out the other. And I was thinking this morning on the way in, I've been in a class where the instructor hasn't been very nice to the students. And so here we screen our instructors for that. Like, we don't want to deal with any of the negative experiences that people have sometimes had with sewing instructors. And so we screen our instructors pretty hard for our classes. And so I'll announce here in a minute who our instructor is going to be for Denver. But I can tell you, when we had Giuseppe has been a longtime friend of Cotton Cuts. I've known him for a good chunk of time. And so so we wanted to make sure that he's engaging, he's friendly, he's there to help you guys, right? And that's really what Cotton Cuts is all about, is here to help you. And so we want to make sure that our instructors are positively biased in that way, to making sure that every student has the best possible experience. But we definitely don't want to overwhelm you with instruction. We want to make it something that you can take with you as you keep going. We also give you some creative time in the retreats. So we have structured programming where we have projects, and we'll talk more about kind of how that works. But on the first day when you check in, you can open sew. You can sew whatever you want to do. You can take a look at your neighbor and figure out what they're doing, and then also sew that as well. We're also going to be adding in some pre-retreat and some post-retreat kind of optional projects if you want to learn a new technique. But we really like the creativity. We also like that the Cotton Cut spaces are comfortable, and they're also, you get a nice 6-foot table, right? So you don't have to bring those little side tables that everyone has been known to do for retreats. We like to give you space to spread out. We like to give you all the things that you wouldn't, so you shouldn't have to bring anything with you. And I think one of the goals of the Cotton Cuts retreats is that you could, in theory, show up with yourself and a suitcase of clothes and be able to participate in a Cotton Cuts retreat. You don't have to load the car. My guild just had a retreat, and like 5 days ahead of time, people were starting their packing lists and we're getting their cars loaded up, and we're planning on all the carts they would need to get the stuff into the retreat center, right? We had someone attend our retreat in New Orleans. She was from Germany. She literally had her suitcase, and she used our sewing machine, our equipment, our supplies, and she left with 2 finished quilt tops in the week that she was with us in New Orleans. And that's the experience we want. We want you guys to come and be able to sew. We don't want you to stress out for weeks ahead of time cutting a project or shopping for fabric, or, oh my gosh, stressing that you forgot your seam ripper or you forgot your scissors, right? None of that stress is necessary. That's not the experience we're going for. We want to make sure that you guys are all well taken care of and everyone has the most positive experience possible. All right. So then there's also the fun stuff. And so this is one of the things that Paula put on here, and I'm so glad she did. We like to eat well at retreats. Like, I'm a foodie gang, and I want to make sure that, oh, there's Anna. Anna. Yeah, I was just talking about you, Anna. Anna came from Germany, and so she has a Singer Featherweight, and she completely spray painted it after the retreat and changed the color of it. And it looks amazing. Love this, Anna. Okay. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. And I know when we go to retreat, we're used to like snacking and having all sorts of food. And so we want to make sure that when we put our retreat in a specific location, you guys are getting incredible food, that it is representative of the region that you're visiting, right? When we travel with my family, we don't go to McDonald's when we're in France, right? We want to eat the food of the environment we're in. And so we make sure that when we're planning our meals for all these retreats, that we're taking all that into consideration. We provide breakfasts and lunches for all the retreats. They can be buffet, they can be seated plated lunches. The seated plated lunches we had in New Orleans were bonkers, where we would have like a salad, a main course. We had filet for lunch. Like, guys, I don't know about you. I don't know if there's any retreat I've ever been to that served filet for lunch. And then we had oh yes, here we go. So this is where Paula is going to make you guys drool. If you haven't eaten breakfast, I'm so very sorry for the next couple photos she's going to put up. So we do salmon for lunch, and then we have like cake for lunch. And so Dominic went with me to New Orleans. You guys know Dominic, the boy who sews. He had like, people would give him the desserts at the end of lunch because they were so full. And so that kid enjoyed his New Orleans desserts a whole bunch. Holy cow, Paula, like, come on, dude. I'm still talking. Anyways. Okay, so we like to eat, and I think that's something that makes us special. And we also do an opening reception that has an open bar. I think that was kind of different, surprising for a lot of folks, because you don't usually get that at a normal retreat. And that's one of those things that we find is just a fun way to connect, is to break bread with people, right? It's more than just a sewing, it's the community element. I think that's one of the things that we try to integrate as much as we can into our retreats. And then, of course, because you're on retreat, you should have some measure of relaxation. So we like to put our retreats in locations where you can go out and experience a new city. I know when we were in New Orleans, people were leaving every day to go out and just experience what New Orleans had to offer via steamboat rides or museum tours or gator tours. And you got to see alligators, right? There was a lot of things to be done outside of just quilting every day. And I liked that when we were in Sonoma, people were able to go to wine tastings and just hang out in the lobby and have downtime. This isn't so overly programmed that you have to participate, that you can enjoy and have your own retreat within a retreat and make sure that all of your personal needs are met. All right. So let's see here. I'm going to skim through these because I think we've covered a lot about that because believe it or not, I like to talk about this stuff. I'm very passionate about the retreats and I like to make sure, let's see here. And also, so I know that you guys have attended and I know I can see at least 4 or 5 previous attendees on here, that we value connection over flashy production. For us, it's really about those facilitating those connections. And we also know that, we want substance along with fun. This is not going to be a waste of time or money for you. I don't have a lot of patience for that. So this is definitely going to be substance along with the fun. And we have meetings, guys, where we talk about the attention to details, where we talk about thoughtful touches, where, how can we go above and beyond? What are small things we can do that are going to brighten and enhance your guys' experience? We have meetings to plan this. And so, all of that is woven into what we're doing with our retreats. These aren't just show up and we're throwing things together. Marcy went to Sonoma with us. Yes. Woohoo. Let's see here. Ellen is lurking because she's sewing. Start exercising, early food. Yeah, I would say, Sylvia, start exercising. I had time to exercise each day, but it's one of those, the food was amazing. We don't skimp there for sure. All right. Let's see here. Oh, and one of the things that I want to mention, and I know that a lot of folks mention this in we always do a post-retreat survey, that they like having connection to the Cotton Cuts team, right? And so we bring staff members with us. Dominic came with us. And a lot of people just enjoy kind of having that connection to the Cotton Cuts team and being part of the Cotton Cuts family. And that's definitely something I love and support. As many retreats as my kids can come to, they will come next year with us because it's all part of the experience, right? This is not just, profit. This is definitely making sure that we have the best experience for you guys as well. All right. So now let's talk about where we're going and what's going to happen when we get there. So in 2026, we have, let me back up a little bit. So we have 2 types of retreats that we did in 2025. We're going to be adding a third option in 2026. So let me talk about what is included in each of those options. So our first retreat option is a signature retreat. This is a full week experience. So you are going to be immersed. This is taking a full week to yourself. It starts Sunday through Saturday. And so everyone arrives on Saturday, checks in, you can sit, you sew, you set up your station, you get ready to go. And Monday, we have 2 days where we have an outside instructor that comes in and teaches us on an element, something you guys have asked for or something that we found interesting and want to make sure that we are able to share with you guys. Then we've had a shop hop day. We're going to these places, guys. We might as well support the local economy and go see some of the best quilt shops. We did this in New Orleans and we got a big giant charter bus and we loaded it up with a bunch of food because again, see exhibit, we like to eat. And we drove around and we got to meet some incredible quilt shop owners. We got to see fabric and supplies that we don't necessarily have in our local shops. And so it was fun. It was fun for everyone. It was fun for us. It was fun for the employees and the shop owners. And so we want to keep that element because again, it's fun. You're going all this way. You might as well see the things that you don't necessarily have the ability to see. One of the quilt shops we went to is an hour and a half away. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm not renting a car and driving an hour and a half away, but the bus took us there and we had a fantastic time. I will tell you, for those of you guys that are here in New Orleans, it got to be about 9:30 and we did a coffee run. So everyone ordered ahead at a Starbucks. We literally pulled off the highway. Everyone got out in a single file line, picked up their Starbucks and got back on the bus because it was fun and everyone needed caffeine. And so let's enjoy that while we can. Sorry, I don't think I've actually ever told someone that story. All right, so then we have, after the day, we have the shop hop. Then we do 2 days of a Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. This is an exclusive design to the retreat with colorways that are made specifically for the retreat. When we were in New Orleans, we had a colorway that was Mardi Gras themed. When we were in Sonoma, we had a design that was wine and vineyard themed. And so it's part of that, exclusive experience. That's a design that you can only get there. And then Saturday is we have breakfast and everyone gets to go home at your leisure. You can stay to the room until 2. That's the signature. A signature light, we're going to be expanding in 2026. And so it will be the 2 days allocated to the exclusive Puzzle Mystery Quilt design in colorways that are specific for just the retreat. But we're adding a shop hop because like I said, that shop hop experience was so memorable in New Orleans. You're coming all this way. Let's add a shop hop. So when we start talking about our signature lights, It's going to be 2 days of a puzzle mystery quilt and 1 day of a shop hop. So you can go out and see the local quilt shops in the area that you might not be able to see because going to Savannah, for example, might not be something that you might get back to for a while. Or when you're there, you might be doing so much of the Gothic and the Southern charm that you don't have a chance to go quilt shop. Now, when I travel, I do the quilt shops all the time, but that might not be on your itinerary list. And so we want to make sure we have that opportunity for you. The third, which is the new thing that we're going to be introducing in 2026, is our Cotton Cut Studio retreats. So these are going to be super small retreats. These are going to be usually over a weekend, and it's going to be coming and sitting and sewing with us. There's not going to be projects, but there will be opportunities to have excursions. There will be opportunities to have, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, but the first one, I'm just going to tell you guys that the first one's going to be in St. Louis. We're still negotiating on a date with the hotel, so I unfortunately cannot share the date with you. But when you come to St. Louis, we're not going to have projects and designs. However, you will get a behind the scenes tour of the Cotton Cuts factory, and I'm going to call it factory, shop. And so that way you can see how the team works here and what things we work on. And maybe we'll let you guys use a die cutter while you're here. I'm sure the team would have no problem at all teaching you how to use our die cutters. But that's the type of thing is when we do the studios, it is going to be more bring your own projects. We'll still supply you with all the equipment, the tables, all the incredible food, all the swag bag, all the t-shirts, all the giveaways, all the freebie stuff. But we want to give you an opportunity to maybe sew your own project in a smaller setting. So we anticipate these are probably going to be more regional. Like I said, the first one's going to be coming to St. Louis. I will be announcing that in a couple of shows. Like I said, we actually ran into some problems. And so FIFA, I don't know if you guys know this, but the FIFA World Cup is happening next summer. I know that Dana is a big soccer fan like I am. And so even though there's no games happening in St. Louis, there is a whole block of hotels in St. Louis that have been cordoned off, that have been completely swiped up by FIFA for practices. So as these teams come here, St. Louis is a practice site. And so all the hotels are booked. So it's given us a little bit of a headache, but we're navigating through it. All right. Ray Watt says trees and cemetery. Yeah, when I think of Savannah, I think of the weeping willow and all of the cemeteries, very Gothic. Yes. I think that's probably because a lot of movies when I was growing up in Savannah were set that way. I feel like that's kind of the air it's given. All right. So those are the 3 types of retreats that we're going to be doing for next year. So we're going to first start with our first retreat, which is our signature retreat happening in Denver, Colorado. It is March 22nd through the 28th. So before I jump into details about that, registration for all of these retreats will be live at noon today. The outage on Monday, Tuesday with Amazon kind of threw a little kink in some of our systems. So we are going to have those live by noon today. You can go to cottoncutsretreats.com and learn more about these retreats throughout the day. But at noon is when all the registration links are going to go live, and you can actually sign up and join us in these lovely destinations. So our first retreat is our signature retreat in Denver. It is March. I'm going to give you guys a hint. Those dates were chosen because it is my retreat director, Jason's 50th birthday. So we are celebrating his 50th birthday on retreat in Denver. All right. So when I think of Denver in March, it is going to be spring. We're going to be coming out of winter. Things are going to be thawing and things are going to be growing. And it's just mountains and fresh air and elevation and all the fun things that you can think of when you're retreating in Denver. We chose Denver because it is super close and accessible to an airport that a lot of people can get to. It's going to be relatively easy to access. We are going to stay at the Royal Sonesta in downtown Denver. So Royal Sonesta treated us real well when we were in New Orleans. And so we are going to be, trying to stay at as many Royal Sonesta hotels as we can because it's fantastic. It is an elevated experience and they are so great to us. They're so great to all of you. And again, that gets to that. We're trying to go places where you guys are treated well and we are treated well as well. All right. And so, anytime you're in Denver, you're just surrounded by inspiration. Look up at the Rocky Mountains. I grew up in the Rocky Mountains in Arizona. It is beautiful just to be surrounded by that tranquil retreat, relaxation environment. I can share with you that our educator for Denver is going to be Rebecca Bryan of Bryan House Quilts. And so Rebecca has been a long time friend of Cotton Cut. She was one of our first featured designers. And the technique, she's going to have a trunk show where she's going to show us. Rebecca's work is really well done, guys. This trunk show, you're going to be taking lots of photos and wanting to make these quilts when you get home. Rebecca does a lot of freezer paper piecing. And so when we were interviewing folks about what you wanted to learn at retreat or what sort of projects you'd be interested in, Rebecca does freezer paper piecing. So this is a new skill for me. So for those of you that don't know freezer paper piecing, this is like foundation paper piecing where you sew on the paper, flip it over, sew on the paper, flip it over, except for you're not actually sewing on the paper. And so I think in the past week, I've seen a lot of posts on social media about people having to rip papers out of the foundation paper piecing. When you freezer paper piece, you don't have to do that because you're not stitching into the paper. This seems like voodoo to me. And so I am excited to have Rebecca come in. I'm excited to see her trunk show. I'm excited to see her teach us this technique and everyone leave learning something new. Or if you already know how to freezer paper piece, perhaps learning a new way to add more skills to this so you can take it to another level for yourself. So Rebecca's fantastic. She lives next door to one of my friends here in St. Louis. She's great. Love, love, love Rebecca. She is a fun instructor and I know that everyone's going to leave completely inspired. And then don't forget, because I'm going to keep mentioning this, we like to eat. There's a lot of really good food in Denver, and we're going to have an exclusive Puzzle Mystery Quilt. And so the pricing on that is going to be for a single room. So say you want to go and you want to stay just by yourself. It is going to be $32.99. If you are a double and you want to have a roommate and you want to travel with a friend, it is $29.99. However, we are going to be running a promotion. And so this is going to apply to all of our retreats. If you were staying in a double room with a roommate, we're going to take $100 off the registration fee for the first 30 days that they're open for registration. That takes us through November 22nd. So say you are willing to share a room with someone, $100 comes off of that immediately. Now, say you are traveling with a friend. That's real easy. Get the double room, share the room, and you guys each save $100. Now, if you don't have a friend, you don't have a roommate, and you're okay sharing a room with a stranger, we will pair you up with someone. And so that is Jason's job. That is what he is going to do really well. If you want to travel and you are wanting to stay with a buddy that you haven't met yet, that is going to become your future best friend, we can definitely do that. Joy, fantastic question. She's asking about machines. I'm going to go into what is included in all of this. We will include a machine that you can use free of charge. Again, we want you to be able to show up and be able to sew. Actually, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole now. Okay, so we are providing sewing machines. And so for the ones for 2025, we provided featherweights. And what we've learned is people are either, I love featherweights, or I don't love featherweights, right? And so these camps are like opposite. They're oil and water. They don't mix, right? And so when people came to the retreats and they were using the featherweights, people were like machines if they loved it and fighting it if they didn't. So what we are going to do, and again, these machines are going to be there. You just tell us you want one and it'll be there when you arrive. We will have featherweights, but then we are also going to have some entry-level Janome machines. So if you want a traditional machine, we will have a Janome machine ready for you on site if a featherweight is daunting and you want to make sure that you're able to complete and participate in the program to its fullest. Now, in this case, Jason is getting his Janome training and certification as we speak. So he'll be able to do all the on-site maintenance and repair of those machines if anything bad should happen. And so you will have two options, a featherweight or a modern machine. Again, we want you to be able to show up with yourself and your clothes and leave with a fun project and inspired. Jana says she'd love to try a featherweight. Yes, I think of the people that tried it, that weren't afraid to try it, definitely enjoyed it. Marcy, if you signed up for retreat already, we're going to be reaching out to you shortly after the show about applying that fund to your seat is already reserved. If you've attended a retreat and you put down your deposit, your seat is already reserved. You don't have to worry about it at all. Joy needs a modern machine. I get that. It depends on the project for me, but I think a modern machine, there's some comfort there. Okay. Down the machine rabbit hole. Let me bring us back to Denver. All right. So Denver is super exciting. Like I said, we're going to do that promotion. If you have a buddy, you'll each save $100. You can use it on awesome other fantastic stuff to get to Denver. All right. Let's go to our second retreat. So the second one is a signature light retreat. So this is a shop hop and 2 days of Puzzle Mystery Quilt sewing. That's going to happen in Savannah, Georgia. And the dates for that are May 12th through the 16th. Again, all of this is on cottoncutsretreats.com and will be open for registration at noon. So we are going to Savannah. And so I think we've already talked about, the weeping willows, the moss, the trees, the cemeteries, the Gothic. Like Savannah has this old world charm. And when we were thinking of fun places that we would want to take a group of awesome people to, Savannah was like right at the top of the list. And so, it's going to be real special. We are in the process of finalizing we have found this incredible hotel and I wish I could tell you what it is, but we are this close to signing the contract, but you were going to be in downtown Savannah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. Let's see here. And when we think about Savannah, it really gets to that city of kind of slowing down and taking your time. Many of us live in places where it's like rush, rush, rush. I just spent an hour in rush hour traffic this morning, right? That is not Savannah, is driving on a highway in traffic, right? And so this is something that, when we think about Savannah, that's really getting to that retreat, taking it down to quilting and creativity and connection. And like I said, we're adding that shop hop element to it. So I cannot wait to get out and see what these Southern Charm quilt shops have for us and what sort of inspiration we can all leave with. Anna is sharing the Sonesta team story. So Anna visited us with New Orleans. The security guy accompanied me to the cat taxi at 4 a.m. to ensure I had her luggage, huge luggage after shop hopping. We're safe on the way to the airport. Yeah, the Sonesta team, like that hotel brand, it goes above and beyond. Cannot speak highly enough of them. Okay, so for Sonoma, so the pricing is on the website. It is going to be $24.99 for a single room and $21.99 for a double. And then again, the same deal. If you want to go with a roommate or if you're willing to have us pair you up, we'll take $100 off that double room. Easy peasy. In Savannah, will the airport be close to get to the hotel? So what we found is again, we've been looking at locations. We actually found some really, really nice hotels by the airport, but we really wanted to get into the city of Savannah. And so if you sign up for the retreat or send in the question, Jason will help get you transportation and some logistics around that. I know when we were in New Orleans, like the airport's like 25 minutes away, 30 minutes away from downtown, but it was more important for us to be at the location than be close to the hotel, right? We want to make sure we're getting the immersive city experience, and the hotel right on Bourbon Street was definitely something we wanted to have. Okay, then our third retreat is going to be another signature retreat, so another full week retreat. And this one, I know I've been talking about a lot about New Orleans, so we're going back to New Orleans, gang. And so this was something that came as a suggestion of the retreat attendees, was that we have a location we go every year, and everyone knows we're going there, so that way you guys can put it on your calendars and put it into your books. So we are going to go back to New Orleans. And so this is, again, going to be a full week retreat. And those dates on that retreat is August 23rd through August 29th. Now, that last week in August is going to be the Cotton Cuts Week at the Sonesta Hotel in New Orleans every year for the next 4 years. So if you can't make it this year, put it on your calendar, because next to 2027, we're going to be back that last week in August, in 2028 and 2029. And so this is something that we wanted to have kind of an anchor place. New Orleans has such a memory for me. That's where I went to school. That's where I met my husband. That's where we got married. And my kids and I have gone there every other year since they were practically born. And so we are anchoring in New Orleans at the Royal Sonesta Hotel on Bourbon Street. And so those dates, I'm going to say them again, August 23rd through August 29th. The last week in August is Cotton Cuts at Royal Sonesta Week. The quilters are taking over the hotel. It is going to be fun and awesome and amazing. And so, I mean, I keep talking about how amazing New Orleans is and all the fun that everyone had there. And it was quilting, but it was also a city and it was culture. And so that one is going to be the same exact as Denver. So $32.99, $29.99, $100 off that double room. Again, it was fun. No, Love Loathingly says the last week in August is always their big work event she can never get away from. Well, maybe you just need a new job. I'm just saying. I mean, that could be an option, right? The Cotton Cuts retreat. Anyways, all right. So yes, so I want to make sure that, we work this out with the hotel. Like I said, the Sonesta brand, I am not going to be able to say enough about Royal Sonesta. They've treated us so well in all the cities we've been working with them in. And so it was really important for us to pick a week that we could get every year in New Orleans. And so that is going to be it, gang. And so again, that's going to be open for registration if you want to get in. Now, when you register, I know those are for some folks, those are big numbers I threw out. You don't have to pay it all at once. We have a payment plan option. And so is that the amount to come? Yes. So $32.99. So you don't have to pay it all at once. If you want to pay it and be done with it and know that your vacation is coming at that day and time, that's fantastic. We do have payment plans. And so it is, you put a $250 deposit down, and then the remainder of the dues, the remainder of the fee is taken out monthly until a month before the retreat. Let's see here. Jan is asking, what if you are sick and you can't go to work out? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. That's not a sick for the retreat. That's a sick for the big work event is what Jan is asking. So yes, I guess Loathing, you could be sick for the work event and not go to work that week. Ray is asking, can I have a guest in my own room, not at the retreat? Yes, you most definitely can. You can get a single room and they can stay with you for free. It doesn't include any of the food or any of the things that we do at the retreat, but they would have access to the hotel as well as all the cities that we're in. And so let's see, that covers what is the question. So that's actually the very next thing is what's included with all of this. So the pricing includes for each of a retreat. It includes all of your hotel stay, so you don't have to worry about making room and whatnot. And these hotels are fantastic about adding a day on either side if you choose to do that. We had several people do that in both locations, not a problem at all. We will help facilitate that for you. It includes all breakfasts, all lunches, as well as the opening reception on the first night. That opening reception, I want to make sure, like that's a meal. Like that was tons of food. That was a meal and an open bar. Let's see here, all workshop materials and instructions. It includes your Puzzle Mystery Quilt. It includes all of your kits. We do have options if you wanted to get backing and borders and all the extra things, but it does include everything that you would need to complete the workshop materials as well as the instructor. It includes your dedicated sewing space and time. It includes special activities. So if we have a shop pop, if we have an excursion, if we have a tour, a visit to see the cotton cut site, it includes all of that. It includes also lots of giveaways and lots of prizes and all sorts of fun things. And we also have interactive activities that we do, right? So we like this as kind of an entertainment experience. And so that's really what you're getting as well. So what you will need to bring. So you have a choice to bring your machine, or you can use one of the ones we have. I would not suggest flying with the sewing machine. That's kind of a risky offer. We are more than happy to provide that for you. You will have a 6-foot table. You have access to irons and cutting boards. And I mean, oversized irons. I want to make sure we're oversized ironing boards. Let's make sure we're talking about that. Cutting mats, cutting boards. We like to do this swag bag thing. And I don't think we talked about that. That's not on this list. But for each retreat, we come up with a $250 swag bag. And so Paula pulled out. We don't skimp on the swag bags either, gang. This was in our first retreat's bag. And so this is the Tula Pink Oliso baby iron. And so in here is the tiny iron that people were able to use, and they kept it at their workstation, and we gave them a little iron mat, and boom, 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 boom. You were able to sit there and sew your Puzzle Mystery Quilt and have it done at your workstation. Yes, Bobby, it does include all the materials that you would need for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. It includes that kit. Cutters. It does not include a die cutter, Ray. Sorry, we can't take the die cutters from here and bring them to the location, but it would include rotary cutters as well as rulers and tons of cutting mats. All right, things you would need to bring. Projects you want to work on. If you are a particular person and you love that seam ripper and it was gifted to you 20 years ago, bring that with you if you would like. Comfortable clothes, right? I mean, please don't show up naked. That's a bad deal. Like, let's make sure that everyone's dressed. But also, these are in conference rooms, so layers is always appropriate, and an open heart ready to connect and create. So definitely make sure that you're coming to these with the intention of either you wanting to create a retreat for yourself or opening yourself up to new experiences and meeting new people, because that is the best way to experience a Cotton Cuts retreat. All right. All right, so registration for all these retreats will open at noon today. So set your alarm. I think it's an hour and a half from now. Website will go live. They're going to fill up. We have to cap based upon our contracts with the hotels. We have to cap the certain number of rooms we can get. So make sure. I mean, you don't need to. This is not one of those ones you're going to have to run out and register today. I would encourage you to do that as early as possible, and definitely within the first couple of weeks, because last year we got real close to selling out on one of them early, and it gave us a little bit of heart palpitations, and we had to do a lot of work behind the scenes, but we got it all done and all together. Okay. All right. That was a lot of stuff, guys, but it's worth it because our retreats are a fantastic experience and you are not going to want to miss out on these at all. I'm still like super excited and pumped up from the 2 that we did last year and cannot wait to do more of these. Our goal is to get up to about 10 a year by 2027, and then more into 2028 because it's a fun and an enjoyable experience for everybody. All right. I think I've answered all the questions I've seen on the chat. If you have any other questions, please keep them coming into the chat. If you watch this later today or tomorrow, Linda, I know you're going to watch it tomorrow night. So Linda, if you're watching it and have questions, please put them into the chat. Is there a preliminary date for the St. Louis retreat? So Gianna, we were looking at June. And then found out a ton of hotels in St. Louis were booked up in June. So we're having to go to plan B on that. But we were going to shoot for June. And then, someone decided to host a giant soccer tournament, football tournament in the United States. Sorry about that. Okay. That is one I don't think I can move. All right. Let's see here. So I think that's everything to talk about retreats. And so if you have been hanging with us this whole time, find this video on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, wherever you find this video, and answer this question to win a $25 to win a Cotton Cuts $25 gift certificate to the shop. And so we'll pick one winner and announce them next week. So which of the 3 2026 retreat destinations are you most excited about and why? Don't forget the and why. If you just type in Denver or you leave a mountain emoji, guys, it's not going to count. Paula's going to skip right over that. So make sure you put and why you're excited about those locations. Understanding that St. Louis is also an answer to. You guys can definitely include St. Louis. The dates were messing us up. All right. I think final reminders. Don't forget to visit cottoncutsretreat.com for all details on these retreats. Registration opens at noon today. Submit questions for our live next week at cottoncuts.com/live. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I cannot wait to see you guys in person at a retreat next year. I cannot wait to see you guys at the Flyaway Live coming up in a couple weeks. So much fun in the Cotton Cuts family to be around and hanging out with you guys. And we do it all for you. Thank you guys so much for keeping us doing all the things we love. All right, that is it. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye now. And cut. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no two quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new, fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.